Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode in Java. Today I'll be teaching all about interfaces in Java. An interface is a complete abstract class that is used to group related methods with empty bodies. Now let's see an example for an interface. We say we'll use the interface keyword with lowercase letters and we'll have a name for our interface. We'll say interface animal, and inside it we'll have some methods. We'll have a public void run method, and we'll have another method, a public void animal sound. All methods inside our interfaces don't have bodies. We can't use bodies inside the interfaces method. We can only use our interface method declarations only. So that's how an interface is made. An interface is made with methods without bodies. Now we'll learn some things about interfaces. Like abstract classes, interfaces cannot be used to create objects. Interface methods don't have a body, and the body is provided by the implement class. On implementation of an interface, you must override all of its methods. Interface methods are by default abstract and public. Interface attributes are by default public, static, final. An interface cannot contain a constructor as it can't be used to create objects. So likewise we said here, an interface is like an abstract class which can't have objects. Interface methods don't have a body, and the body is provided by the implement class. On implementation of an interface, you must override all of its methods, and interfaces methods are by default abstract and public. Likewise, interface attributes are by default public, static and final. And an interface can't contain a constructor as it can't be used to create objects. So, this is something to know about interfaces in Java. I hope you got a clear understanding from this note about interfaces in Java. Now, let's move on to another topic in interfaces. Why and when to use interfaces? To achieve security, hide certain details and only show the important details of an object. Java does not support multiple inheritance. A class can only inherit from one superclass. However, it can be achieved with interfaces because the class can implement multiple interfaces. So, as said here, to achieve security, we hide details and show important details of an object in an interface. And in Java, multiple inheritance is not supported because we can't inherit from many classes. However, we can use multiple inheritance from interfaces. There can be many interfaces implemented for an class. That's how inheritance is done through interfaces in Java. Now let's see an instance for multiple inheritance in Java by interfaces. We'll have some interfaces. First we'll have an interface, my first interface, and inside it we'll have a method. We'll declare a method called public void my first, and we'll have another method public void my interface. Alright, now let's have another interface. This will be my second interface, and inside it we'll have some methods. We'll have a public void my second, and we'll have another method public void my second interface. Alright, now here we have made two interfaces with two methods each. So let's try to implement our interfaces and provide inheritance for a class. For that we'll make a class. We'll have a class my Java, and we'll implement it to my first interface. Now you have learned that interfaces can be implemented throughout a class. Now let's see multiple inheritance by interfaces. to have multiple interfaces for a class, we will use the comma after one interface. So we'll say class myJava implements my interface, comma, my second interface. And now we must implement our methods of the interfaces. We say we'll click on the red bulb and we say implement methods. And now let's implement all these methods of our interfaces. Now we have overridden our interface methods, or both interfaces methods inside our myJava class. Now inside the my first method we'll have an sout. We'll say my first, and inside the my interface we'll have another sout saying interface 1, and inside the my second we'll have an sout that prints my second. And inside the next my second interface we will have an sout saying interface 2. Okay, now we have made two interfaces and we have implemented them to our my Java class, and we have overridden all the methods of the two interfaces inside the class myJava. Now to access this, let's have another class. We'll have a class main, and inside it we'll have our main method, and let's make an object out of myJava class. We say myJava Java equals to new myJava, and now let's say Java dot my first and Java dot my second and Java dot my interface, and we'll have Java dot my second interface. Likewise, we have made another class and implemented the main method, and we have made an object of our myJava class, and we have implemented the interfaces methods through the Java class. Now let's run this and check the output. Okay, we got my first, my second, interface 1 and interface 2 printed. That means our inheritance of the interfaces throughout the class myJava was done perfectly. Our inheritance worked. That means we have implemented two interfaces inside the class, and we have overridden its methods and had new methods with new souts. That's how this has been done, and I hope you got a clear understanding about interfaces by this. Now let's have another interface to see multiple inheritance in Java. We'll have an interface called my third interface, and inside it we'll have some methods. We say public void my third, and this is a method without a body, and we'll have another method public void my third interface. And now let's implement my third interface inside my Java class. We'll go into the end and say comma, and we'll have our my third interface implemented. And now this gives an error. So to remove the error, we must press the red bulb and say implement methods. And now we can implement our method and method interface methods inside our class myJava. And now inside method we'll have an S out saying method, and inside the method interface we'll have an S out saying interface 3. And now let's have our Java object to implement the methods. We say method and we say Java method interface. Now let's run this and see the output. We got my first, my second, interface 1, interface 2, method and interface 3 printed out when we ran this code. That means our multiple inheritance through interfaces has been achieved. That means we have finally inherited from 3 interfaces for a class to a class. That's what has happened here. Now I have taught you about interfaces in Java and about multiple inheritance by interfaces by the use of the keyword implements and the comma. I think that you got a clear understanding about interfaces from this lesson. I hope you would use my lesson to implement methods, classes and interfaces so that you can achieve some task with your work. Now is the end of this lesson, and I'll see you in another lesson another time. Until then, goodbye guys, and please take care.